get these computers without it being seen.
Man, I think the mergers are doing more harm than good.
Matt, have you seen what mergers do to storms on big days? Come on, man. I think they're about to issue.
No, I'm saying with that particular storm.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, when it not doing anything and it needs a little jump start.
Bigger deal.
All right, this is just going to be a Facebook update on the severe weather threat that we're dealing with across West Arkansas. We still have the threat for some isolated tornadoes, and we have a tornado watch in effect for essentially the west half of the state. But West Arkansas is really the location that we're watching. Up in North Arkansas, there's a lot of storms, and really none of those I don't think are going to be able to produce tornadoes. That's a wind and hail risk. But what we're watching out in West Arkansas is a bit of a rare sight. We've got 3 supercells that have developed over the western part of the state, and all 3 are producing large hail. And I think all 3 may have isolated tornado potential at some point because favorable conditions could exist in the next 2 to maybe 3 hours for that to occur. So we've got one storm moving through southern Yell County. It's going through a storm merger, and it may take another few minutes before we really know what's going to happen with that storm. We've got another storm in the southern section of Montgomery County, and that's headed towards the south side of Lake Ouachita and then eventually into Hot Springs and Hot Springs Village, and that's got large hail in it. So if you're in Garland County, there is a storm producing large hail that is headed in your direction. And then further back towards the west on the south side of Mena, another supercell. Looks like the hail core goes just towards the south of Mena. We're watching, I think the Weather Service is watching this storm right here towards the south for immediate possibility of a tornado warning, but at least the storm in southern Yell County, it's been rotating, but not to the point that would require a tornado warning. Now, it's produced hail. It looks like at some point in its lifespan that's it's produced golf ball sized hail, and this is quickly approaching the central section of Yell County. It looks like it is going to stay to the south of Danville, and that's Arkansas Highway 27 that it is quickly approaching. Towards the south, this is the storm that I think is really getting the attention of the Weather Service. It has shown a better rotation than the other storms, and I will pull that up for you here. It's broad rotation, but I do think that it may require a tornado warning as it heads off towards Mazarn and Lake Ouachita, Mountain Pine, and Hot Springs. So we're going to watch that one very closely. And then as you look back towards the west, storm number 3, south of Mena, it looks like the big hail core is just to the south of Mena. This storm is moving east-northeast. That is another one to watch. So hail is in all 3 storms. I think there's the possibility that an isolated tornado would be possible. This is not a setup for a great tornado day, but if it's going to come together, it probably does so between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. So we're really in that window right there. This is the view from Hot Springs. This is our weather cam, and we're looking off towards the west. And what you can see right there is the storm that is over, I believe, Yell County. And that's, I'm going to turn the camera to the right. You're looking at the storm that's in Yell County, and we cannot see the base, it looks like, but you can actually see on the far right side of your screen, you can see the other side of the storm. So we're looking at this. I think as it gets closer, and there's a tower in the way, but we may actually be able to see the base on this storm. So we may have a view of that from our Hot Springs tower cam. And then as I swing this camera back around to look more towards the south, we do have another big storm that, of course, is in the southern section of Montgomery County. So that's looking off in that direction. Looks like I can't see that other storm, but there's that storm right there. And then my good friend Zachary Hall is Arkansas storm tracker. He is out in the vicinity of this storm. And let me see, I'm going to change the feed there. This is Brett Adair with Live Storms Media. He's one of our partners for this severe weather season, and let's see if his feed will load. But he is actually in the vicinity of this storm as well. I don't believe his feed is going to load. Zachary Hall, he was out in Rover, Arkansas. Looks like he may have a view here. A good friend of mine out storm chasing in West Arkansas today. We're going to be seeing if he can get a view of this storm. That is in Yell County. He's in southern Yell County. I think they just came through Ola. So that is what we're currently watching. I think the evolution of these storms, of course, Futurecast isn't exactly right, but the evolution generally is going to be for scattered severe storms over the next couple of hours. As we get past 8 o'clock, things really get widespread and the severe threat begins to lower. However, I do think the flash flooding threat does go up as more storms develop through the overnight hours. I think the real window to watch over the next couple of hours is West Arkansas, and really between now and about 9 o'clock. All three of these storms, we'll have to see what they do. I do think large hail is falling out of all three, and these are generally moving off towards the east. Looking up towards further towards the north, we do have another storm that it's had the appearance of a supercell, but it looks like it's mainly a large hail producer, and that's about to move into northern Van Buren County. Other severe thunderstorm warnings are in place for Johnson County and back into the Fort Smith area. Again, most of that is a threat for large hail. And then down into Clark County, it's possible another storm we may have to watch. Not severe warned just yet, but south of Gurdon, we've got one storm that's really starting to get its act together. Again, large hail is the main threat, but with supercells, the time of year, with the amount of heat and humidity that's out there, we may have an isolated tornado threat come together over the western part of the state. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. If you happen to miss our broadcast at 5 and 6 o'clock, this is just, I think, a good summary of what we're watching and what we're dealing with. Remember, we don't go live on air for severe thunderstorm warnings, but these three storms in particular are concerning because they're out all by themselves. It was 80 degrees at Hot Springs, so there's plenty of heat and humidity for these storms to use, and I think the isolated tornado potential could increase towards 7 and